What's up guys, it's Oblivious Gamer here, and well, today we did get quite the nice surprise with Guilty Gear Strive. So, GameSpot released a gameplay video that shows high-level gameplay, and we got to see some new moves, some small changes here and there in the UI, and we got to see Kai having a dragon install, which personally I like it. Now, if you like the content, don't forget to subscribe. So, the characters we get to see are Axel, Sato, Kai Kisk, Nagarayuki, and Soul Bad Guy. For these videos, I would just mention some stuff I found interesting, such as the new moves they show, and I'll be going in order by the matches. Before I do go into the matches, I want to highlight some changes we see in the UI. So this has already been stated, but of course they removed the moving gauges. So now the burst gauge, the character portrait, and the wrist gauge are stationary, which is great. I hated how it used to move. Now, the reason Arc System Works did the moving gauges was because their claim is that they wanted to make it easier for people to look at the gauges, but instead they made it harder because you had to take some seconds to readjust and see where your burst gauge and wrist gauge are, which are two important meters to keep track of in Guilty Gear. Now, the only thing I still hate is the number counter. I don't get the need to make it so big it takes up half of the screen after a certain number. I personally find it distracting and I don't like how it looks. Plus, I don't see the point of making it so big. Like, I have never heard a fighting game player asking for a combo counter that can cover half of the screen. I really don't know what they're thinking with this, and I am hoping they will change it. Now, for the matches, the first one is Axel versus Sato. Now, a thing to highlight is that Axel has a move that freezes time. And this is cool. For those that don't know, Axel is from a different time period, and he learns to freeze time at some point in the story. I won't go too much into it just for spoiler's sake, but they added it as a move, and it's called One Vision. And it's half a circle motion. So I'm happy about this because I was hoping they didn't make many of the moves just quarter circle forwards and quarter circle back. So this is really good. For the move, as you can see, when Axel hits the enemy with a certain move, time will freeze, giving him time to execute another combo. A thing to note is when he activates the move, he gets surrounded in this purple mist, and it's a move that even if you are hit by the enemy, it doesn't go away, as we can see here. So this is an interesting move. I do wonder how much time he has once you freeze the opponent, and also if the purple aura eventually goes away by itself if you don't use the move. I can see this move will be an interesting tool for Axel, and it's something I really can't wait to see more during the beta and see what people are doing with it. The next match is Kai and the newcomer Nagarayuki. Now we get to see some of Nagarayuki, and I have to say he's not as big as Potemkin, but you can definitely see he's a heavy boy from his movement and attacks. Personally, I thought this combo was really cool that they did. Let's talk about the big news here, and that is that Kai now has a dragon install. And from what we can see, it's like a partial transformation. We see his left eye turns red and his left arm has a small transformation. As to what the install does, I personally can't determine it. I don't know if it gives him a damage boost or a speed boost. So for me, I really haven't figured out what the install does to Kai. Also, Kai is capable of doing this move when he's on low health. And so far compared to Souls, it seems he can use it for as long as he wants to. As we can see, he retains his install for a while, whereas with Soul, it's a limited time. Now, for those wondering, how does Kai have an install? Well, during Xrd in the cutscene, we did see Kai's eye turn red at one point. And also, during Xrd, the reason he had long hair was because his hair just grows super quickly and it was annoying to cut. And it's speculated that all this happens because him being around Dizzy. Now, a lot of people say that Kai has now gear powers because he is, and I quote, piping Dizzy. But I personally feel there's a much more compelling theory as to how he obtained gear powers, not just by, having relationships with a gear. And this theory is basically that Kai has Sin's left eye, and that they switched eyes when Sin was very young. Since Sin uses a eye patch on his right eye to suppress his gear power. The theory comes from Guilty Gear 2 Overture stories. And basically there's a scene when Soul visits Sin and Kai. Sin here is a young boy, and Soul sees that Sin has a eye patch in his right eye. And then he looks at Kai and he sees that Kai also has an eye patch. Though it's not specified in which eye the eye patch is, but I think it could be a cool theory. Now again, this seems to be some translation by people, so take it with a grain of salt. But this could be a great explanation. Again, until confirmed, just take it as a theory. But I think it would be really cool, and especially trying to find the reason as to why Kai took Sin's eye. Then the next match we see is Soul Bad Guy versus Sato again, and boy, I bet fans of Sato are pleased since they get to see their character in action a lot in this video. Now, the new move they show for Soul is called Heavy Mob Cemetery. Personally, I think it's a cool name and the move looks really cool. Basically, Soul transforms into his gear form quickly, he flies towards the opponent and then slams them on the ground. Though I don't know how much damage that move does because he uses it at the end to finish his opponent, but it looks really cool and the animation just looks insane. Now, in the end, I'm really happy we get to see some new moves for these characters. During the beta, I was a bit concerned because I felt that the characters didn't have as much moves as their XR counterparts. So I was like, okay, they should be adding new moves. And turns out I was right. So I hope they add more moves than just what we saw today for some of the characters. And I can't wait to see what other new moves they have planned for everyone else in the roster. Now, I think I want to talk about is I'm still concerned about the damage in the game. So during the beta, I felt the damage was a little nutty, like it was too much. And at times when I'm watching this new gameplay video, I feel it's much better than the first beta. But there's still moments where I go, I feel this is too much. As an example, with this combo we see that Sato here takes out a good chunk of Soul's health. Of course, even without the damage you get from breaking the wall, I still feel it can be much. And of course, without counting that wall break that you get, he does a 7-hit combo and he takes a lot of Soul's health. Also, something in the beta that people were complaining and talking about was Soul's Bad Guy's Wild Throw did a good amount of damage to the point that people were memeing. During this demonstration, we don't get to see that move, so I am wondering if they kept the damage or they scaled it a bit back. As I said before, I have my concerns with Guilty Gear Strive. I am cautiously optimistic. I think Arc System Works has taken a lot of good decisions recently, and they're leading the game into a good direction compared to when they originally started the project. I feel it has changed so much for the better, of course. But, you know, I think for now, it's okay. Like, I'm waiting to play the beta to have a more concrete opinion. For now, we will have to wait until this new beta happens, which is not far away. And of course, I'll be playing it as much as I can. So yeah guys, this has been Oblivious Gamer. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to leave your comments down below, and I hope you'll have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.